It's in 39 minutes off the hour and all the way till around 7-9. We're going to be bringing you the news review now. Joining me for a discussion, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. But before I rope him in, the segment is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and they're offering you, if you're a man, and I'm just imagining my director, producer, sound engineer, camera people here, I'll be finding out from them when the last time was that they checked out their prostates, because it's crucial that we all do so. If you're a woman, do you know your fertility level? Do you know the status of your fertility? If anything is developing in that area, in your womb, for example, would you know? Or would you just let it be there until it becomes problematic? Many of us don't check ourselves out, and then before we can say jack, we end up with problems. So my advice to you, head to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, because they are offering all of these for free. Come, get yourself checked. And here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Anaji State, that's where you can find them in Takrade. There's Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama Enzima. If you'd like to give them a buzz, a call, these are the numbers to reach them on. 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the way of starting our news review. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
And let me just add, I'm very well, Doc. I hope you're well.
Very well.
All right. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is a political scientist. He is head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Let's quickly, before we get into the papers, I know you usually want to share some thoughts on a number of matters.
Editorial.
Yes. I don't know whether you'd like to talk about the demonstration as well, because I've not got your take on it, but you go ahead.
I've spoken on the demonstration at length,
right.
But let me touch on something different. This happenings in NPP. If you look at
the seismic shift.
Yes, what Alan said about the ills of the party that led to his resignation. If you look at the counter from the party, and then the party stalwarts now speaking, as a political scientist, I have observed with pain that there are certain things that are not done right within the party. It's my duty as a student to be able to help build any political party and any institution in the state so that democracy is preserved at all times. What I have observed from all what is going on, that the institutions within the NPP are weak. And when I say institutions, I'm talking about the rules, the regulations, the procedures, the norms. They are quick to bringing them up, but they don't allow them to work. Because if they are working, the problems that are plaguing the party now, the institutions, if they are working, will be able to rise up to the occasion and deal with them. And what we are seeing, it is clear from me that institutions are down there. They need to work at it to make sure that the party stands on its foot as strong as possible. The other issue is about favoritism. That when there are people who have done something wrong against the party, it appears to me that the party is not able to deal with that. They favor people, some people, more than they favor others.
So
is
justice selective?
It appears so, but you realize that you can never build any meaningful political system with that type of approach. You always go for meritocracy, merit. So whoever has, done something wrong, you use the same rod to measure the person's conduct, and you deal with it based on the institutions you have established. Favoritism is taking a better part of the party and is creating all manner of problems for them. The other bit is hypocrisy in the party. And it's very, very clear that there are problems that are really affecting or working against the party. But the ostrich comes in, where people are playing ostrich as if nothing is happening in there. and now it is what? Staring at their faces now. You don't build a party like that, that you don't want to see the problems that are in the party and you are not ready to deal with them. If you look at the comment Alan made, I'm not saying that all that he's saying is right, but you've seen the counter from the elite within the party. It points to one thing, and that there is hypocrisy. The problems are there, but they want to shelve it under the carpet and all that. Please, you don't build a society and a political party like that. It will stare up in your face one day, and the cost of dealing with it will be too high. The last point of it is what they lack political will. Those, because things have gone on, but who will bear the cut? Nobody. They don't have that political John the Baptist in the party to stand up and tell people in their faces that you got it wrong. Mr. A, you got it wrong. Mr. B, you got it wrong. Let's begin on a clean slate. This is lacking. For me, I am worried because I'm a student of democracy. I want political party to survive and be strong and further the cause of democracy. The effect of this, we all know. But one of it leads to what? Division within the party. It creates what? Bitterness within the party. And it disorganizes the party. And at the end of the day, it leads to all manner of problems, leading to what? Exodus of people from the party to other places and all that. All these things do not gel, do not bode well for a political party that has gone through thick and thin and that has served its country well. It is my hope and prayer that they will take this advice in good faith and then use them to work and strengthen the frontiers of the party. Ghana is interested in having political parties that are able to work within the framework of the law and be able to stand tall at all times and defend the cause of democracy at all times.
Thank you. Darko Stephen says, good morning, guys. Keep up the good work. I have two just reactions to what you've said. While all of this was going on, of course, the NPP was trying to whittle down what Alan was doing. We all knew he was going to speak at 2 p.m. And they started putting out "We Are NPP" with the Osno, the elephant images here and there. I saw a number of party stalwarts do that. But even as they were doing that, Alan was resigning and saying that he was going to contest as an independent candidate. Your colleague, Dr. Richard Amwakuma, interacted with me yesterday, and he said, with what has happened, they might as well, no matter whom they select, they might as well forget breaking the 8, forget winning the election, because Alan is going to take votes away, and most of those votes will come from the NPP stock, disgruntled NPP members. You said something. I want political parties to survive, of course, so our democracy can continue to thrive. Are you then suggesting that some of these moves, happenings, seismic shifts in the NPP could lead to the NPP's death?
The party is not going to die. That is a fact, because it has gone through thick and thin. But this is a caution to them that, yes, you are not dead, but you are irrelevant within the political space. Then it comes back to nothing. If you look at what is happening and people leaving, you don't know the next person who will also leave. You don't know about that. And that is the danger. Anytime MPP or the Danko Busia tradition, they face, they are going to face problems, you see these things coming out. Giants leave the party and create problems for them. We saw 1979. The story is too clear in our minds for us to repeat them here. But all that we are saying that, see, in a democracy, you make sure that everybody is brought on board. It is true that you can't satisfy everybody, but that if you really want to up your game, you need to what? Be working with the institutions, the rules you have set for the game. You obey them. You allow them to work. Once you go against them, I'm afraid you will receive backlash like this. So I believe that it's a wake-up call to them because, look, take it or leave it, Alan is a giant within the party. If you listen to the party people, he will not break the party, he will not do this. It is true. he will not break the party. But look, I know that he can win as an independent party, an independent person. That is true, because the Ghana political system doesn't support this.
But he could become the kingmaker, because if he claws away enough votes.
He could be a kingmaker in the sense that when he is able to push about, a number of votes out, based on the electoral system that we have, the first past the post system, if you have a person like that, of that stature, I'm afraid is going to do a lot of boot wrecking for you. So they need to be able to handle it well, because once he goes out with some people and then they vote against the party, obviously he's going to push the election to a second round. And the second round, then he becomes a kingmaker. He decides on the focus and direction of, political parties and all that. Added to this, remember, voters also decide based on the economic, the health of the economy. Is the economy of sound footing? If it is the making of the government or IMF. That debate will come up strongly. I know that is going to be hot. Issue of corruption will come up. The government, yes, has a problem in that direction. And records are there for Transparency International for all of us to see. Issue of unemployment is going to come up strongly. Yes, the government is doing its bit, but look, there are a large army of unemployed youth parading our streets and doing nothing. Last I was in my office, and there's a story, I was so hurt by that. One of our past students walked to me, "Sir, is it possible you can give me something for breakfast?" And I said, "Come on, come to my room. Let us not talk outside." I shared something with him, I parted something with him, but I told myself, are we failing as a state that I've trained somebody, gone to university 4 years, and then he walked to campus and want to see a lecturer to help him to survive for a daily meal? Come on, that's something we are not doing right. We have to fix it, all right? It has been a problem for a very long time, but now it's becoming worse. And that governance is nothing but our ability to make use of resources to make life better for everybody. Because a hungry man is always an angry man.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on these very important matters. There's just this little bit, I don't know, just give me a straightforward answer so we get to the papers. Dr. Richard Amwakoban also said that if that were to happen, that scenario you painted, where Alan becomes a kingmaker, because if he claws away 5 or 10% of the votes, or even 4%, that could ensure that both parties do not get 50% plus. He would think it would be a betrayal if Alan then goes to support the NPP, so it retains power, because that is not what people would have wanted. That's not, and he said that basically he's supporting Alan, which definitely means that he's resigning himself, from the NPP, Dr. Richard Amwakoban, because once you do that, then it means you're no longer a member of the party. But he says he's standing by that. Do you feel that if push comes to shove, should Alan stick to his principles, or should he back the NPP?
It's difficult to tell, because in politics, you and I know who gets what, when and how. When there is power and people are close to grabbing it, I tell you, they will do something that you cannot imagine. So we'll leave that. But we are saying that if what he's saying, that is not comfortable with the way certain things have been handled within the party, and that the party, what is playing out now is not what he bargained for or they bargained for. And then at the 11th hour, they show you that, yes, you have the right to assess this position if you want, and you follow that. Then it becomes hypocrisy on his part. Remember that Ghanaian politics, there's always hypocrisy. You saw how Aka was beaten in cabinet meeting, and nobody who was interviewed at that time told us that he saw actually what happened. People told us different stories, cock and bull stories, so to speak. And that is what is playing out. If you look at the scenario within the NPP, they tell you, oh no, this was not the case. This is that. But the real story is out there. I believe that when it gets to that level, Alan should be able to exercise a lot of restraint and be able to reason so well that he'll be able to take a decision that will not be albatross around his neck one day. Because you see, in politics, you can decide on something today, you think that it has satisfied a certain parochial interest. Give yourself time. You come back to regret it. You regret it. So I believe that this should be a caution to him. But I know that his factor is not going to be the only factor if NPP is to, suffer power loss. That is if, all right? Because there are a lot of factors that influence voter choices. And his factor is going to be one of them, not only that. So we will not bank a lot of hopes on that so much because there are other factors such as the economy, such as corruption, rule of law, health, unemployment, and all them, about 14 of them, in addition to his factor being a strong member of the party, moving out and then creating disaffection for the party. That is a fact.
Right.
That is a fact.
Well, let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper. I just want to do this lest I forget. There's a special supplement on the hospitality and tourism industries, or industry if you'd like, and beautiful scenes here promoting domestic tourism, our responsibility. That's the Adanse Travels MD. There's also a day out at Safari Valley Eco Resort Park in the Okere District, Eastern Region. I also see Alisa Hotels Group, a beacon of true Ghanaian hospitality, Volta Serene Hotel with the chalets pictured there, and Oak Plaza Suites. I mean, if you grab a copy of the Daily Graphic today, don't miss that special supplement. What I would share, though, is the fact that we keep talking tourism, and I heard recently, I hope this is not true, where a certain minister, and I'm checking for the details, because if I find that thing, I'm going to use it definitely in my blunt thoughts for Friday, where someone was suggesting that we could get foreigners into the country and then, and I'm saying someone because I don't want to get on the wrong end of, when I find the name, and if it's confirmed, I'll spew it, that when foreigners come into the country, we can send them to, funeral gatherings and all of that, and that is tourism.
I listened to the minister myself. With a rapt attention. He didn't say foreigners, but he's saying that when there are funerals, cars will be provided that people would take advantage and move from the funeral to other places of interest, of tourist attraction, which I find very absurd. I can't think about something like this. Is it the case that the minister, I'm sorry to say this, is bereft of ideas of all that? I mean, you can suggest that. So you heard people like Afua Shasiniga and Co coming out to saying that which of his family members is going to die so that the process starts. Why does he want to open himself up for
that kind of words,
responses and all that? I believe that suggestion is the least to tell Ghanaians if you don't have anything for us. That I can.
So I had to bring that up. I had to bring that up, Doc, because we are talking tourism. We're talking tourism, and I just remembered that because I hadn't confirmed, but it's been confirmed for me now, so I can mention his name, Dr. Awal Ibrahim. He's actually a good friend of mine, and when I heard it, I wanted to think, no, Doc didn't say that. I should have given him a call, maybe, but I can't for the life of me, I can't imagine. Look, roads to most of these tourist sites are terrible. In a terrible state. My producer was telling me recently they had to go to this place in the Eastern region. You have beautiful tourist sites, and yet the roads, so many people will just for the struggle, the hassle of getting there, they will decide not to go. And if you decide to go, it will cost you a whole lot if you are using a vehicle because they know the stretch, or if you're going to drive, by the time you're done, your shocks and everything are practically gone. And yet we are talking about boosting tourism and funerals and all that.
And my brother, the thing is that if you really want to improve tourism and make it attractive to people, it's not funeral where you start with. There are a lot of tourist attractions that if you are observant and you go around this country, you see a lot of them. I've been listening to all those who want to fight for political power in this country. For instance, Kennedy Japan, he has been bringing a lot of interesting ideas on tourism. The fact that he has seen one of the churches, I think Methodist or so, they have the first Bible that came to Ghana here. Come on, this is a big thing that you can. When I was in Switzerland, Geneva, there was a place in Geneva, forgetting the name, where you have to go through, use a boat and go there to see the first copy of the Bible. And I tell you, people go there in their numbers, so much so, and then go and watch and all that. There are a lot. Look at the seashore that we have here, from Keta to Alubo. Why can't you develop in such a way that people on holidays can be on a boat, have merry, have fun, and then pay money to the state? Why can't you also even build what monuments? What what do you call a monument for presidential office holders, people who leave office, museums, like the U.S., where your hometown, they build a museum. People go there and visit.
Oh, but Doc, here we are building the National Cathedral, and
that's a joke. I'm not saying that cathedral is not good, but the timing and the rest of it. Look, can't we spend that money to build what museums of all our leaders who have stepped down, including those who are yet to come? That yes, can you imagine you have a museum of Kwame Nkrumah in Nkrofo? People will fly there and see what Nkrumah left for us. You have a museum in Golu that people will go there and see.
I totally side with you. I keep saying these things, but it appears no one listens. We would rather opt for funerals and everything.
Yeah, Ben, the last thing, I was in Menchia one day. I had never been to Kumasi, and that was my first time. And I went to Menchia. I said, Jesus Christ, people are smart. Look, you go through Menchia Museum and you watch cultural things and so forth and so on. I was so amazed. If this thing is replicated in various parts of this country where ethnic groups, kingdoms, clans and all that, they put their cultural things there, like what I saw in Menchia, and then look at them. And then people will come, write in the notebook, pay some money to the people. We create employment, we develop ourselves, and then we maintain our rich culture. There are a lot. There are sites that remain on top, that they are still lying. My own constituency in Ekwapimeno, there are a lot of tourist sites that are lying fallow. We don't tap them. And then instead of looking at all these things, we want to look at funerals and promote that.
Right.
I am sorry.
Right.
That's unfortunate. It should be a public policy.
Well, thank you for those thoughts shared. Other stories: Goil plant to reduce bitumen import, and Ghana is on course to reduce the $11.8 billion average annual bitumen import bill with commercial production of polymer-modified bitumen in the country. Petroleum downstream and midstream player Goil set up the bitumen production plant in Tema as a strategic move to venture into new areas and to help the country reduce the foreign exchange it spends to import the product from neighboring Cote d'Ivoire and Brazil in South America. My only problem, though, I'm just thinking through this. We will, instead of we have done. And the other bit, have we taken a look at the Tema motorway? Hey! The Tema motorway is gradually becoming something else. But even after the recent work done on it. Anyway, Alan's resignation premeditated. That's according to the NPP. They say it said choosing to resign from the party through a press conference instead of engaging the party executive ahead of his announcement spoke volumes of Mr. Chebating's plot. And then it also says, while respecting his decision to contest the 2024 presidential election as an independent candidate, the General Secretary said since 1992, key party people had expressed interest in leading the party and the country, but those who failed to succeed never abandoned the party. That's an interesting thought. We've seen some people leave the party, Kwabena J. Japan, among others. So I don't know what exactly they are trying to say here. Any quick thoughts before we wrap up with the rest of the papers?
Yeah, people, I'll look at those who want to leave the party, those who are saying that people are not leaving and all that. You see, when people are dissatisfied with the way businesses are run within political parties, obviously they vote with their feet by leaving the party. And it is always in the interest of political parties to have the numbers, because that is why this country has chosen the first past the post system. That, look, one vote is important to move you from a candidate to become somebody as an MP or as a president. So one vote is critical. Don't underrate the fact that, it's one or two people who are leaving. It can surprise you. It can push the election to the length that you don't want. So I believe that they should be sober and then reflect on all this and make sure that going forward, they will deal with everybody on equal footings. They will create equal playing field for everybody. They will work in such a way that somebody will not feel shortchanged within the party. Otherwise, they will build a party and only come one day to destroy it. What I am saying, I'm not a prophet of doom, and I'm not praying for that. If they don't take care and Alan's thing stays, and then you have other people who are joining the bandwagon effect catches on, you are likely to destroy the party, and then the coming back becomes a problem. But what I am saying, I am worried, because if care is not taken and you get another giant moving out, you are already in an okra soup.
Anyway, in the next 4 to 5 minutes, we should be wrapping, Doc. Now, the Ghanaian Times newspaper, NPP not hijacked, party denies Alan's claims. I see it across the newspapers today. There is quite a push to put that message out there forcefully. But like you've said, if that bandwagon takes off and if it catches fire, it can only lead to disaster.
But Ben, just a bit of it. Did you listen to Mr. Kojo Mpieni yesterday?
I didn't.
Saying that what Alan said, I mean, some of the things that they posed to him, the question to him, he said that they are true. And he went ahead to name people, one person who has hijacked, part of the people who have hijacked the party and all that. And people are saying it's not true. That's why I'm saying that the hypocrisy within the party will not do them any good. They should be able, one day, I said it on the media, I said...
Hello, Doc? Oh, no. We appear to be losing Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Hopefully we can get him back in just a bit. Can you hear me, Doc?
Yeah, you.
Go ahead with your thoughts, Doc. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. I am saying that people should muster the courage and then tell people what they are supposed to be told in plain language without fear of favor. Okay. Once we do that, we are saying that you have a political will. Lack of it, you destroy a very system you have built over the years. I am worried because all the political parties, if you look at how far they have arrived here, they have come from very far away. And I don't want them to disintegrate at all.
Right.
Because I'm a lover of democracy.
We have to move on.
Let those who want a third force develop.
Okay. Collapsed Doli Bridge. That's the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Commuters forced to pay more. And here's why. Because the bridge has collapsed, now travel time on the Accra-Wa route has increased to 20 hours. The prices of goods and services have shot up, and that has become a real mess. We didn't see that coming. There's also 1,433 died, 10,367 injured in road crashes this year. That's for the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And speaking of the NPP, Wontumi bans Alan's posters. That's another thing that is riling some Alan supporters up. And Chairman Wontumi, the Ashanti Regional Chairman, Ntwi Boesiako, has been, saying that all those posters should go down. And I want your take on this one, definitely. Albert Kandapa, the National Security Minister, is suing Oliver Barker-Vormawor 10 million Ghana cedis. I'm sure you heard the claim that was made about $1 million that was apparently being used to bribe him, or attempted to be used to bribe him, together with some of the leaders of his grouping, which he forcefully resisted. Any quick thoughts on this? And it's a wrap.
Yeah, I think on the past story, the good news is that they are forum, the court, they want to Alan's posters being removed and the rest of them. I am not sure that it is wrong for a political party to say that once you have left the party, we don't want any of your posters, your paraphernalia within the party and all that. There is nothing wrong with that. They can pull them down. It's normal. Wuntumi has not done anything wrong. It is in line with their party, constitution and all that. That once you leave the party, you cease to be the party. And which Mr. Alan Martin said that at the time he was speaking, he had left the party. So obviously, anything about you, which is in line with the party, you have every right to take it off. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way you manage this thing is where the problem is. And that the way you handle it, the language that accompany that exercise and all that, that's what we call political communication. How you communicate these things can create more pain and disaffection and can cause people to leave the party. But you're right. He is not wrong to say that, look, we are taking all his posters off our premises and all that because you are no more a member. Remember, if you work in any other institutions, when you leave, they take your ID card, they take everything, your key and all that. That's normal. But the way you handle this thing can go a long way to create more disaffection within the party.
And that's exactly the point I'm looking at, the sort of language, the tone, the language used, because he's been there, he's been a stalwart, he's contested at the highest levels. So even if you're going to do this, the sort of language and animosity, because the more you bring in animosity, the more you rile up those who are for him. So that's the only angle to look at. But Doc, thank you once more for gracing the occasion and sharing your wonderful thoughts with us this morning. I wish you the best of the day, sir.
I'm always grateful for the opportunity to be able to, dialogue with the people of this country so that we'll build a solid democracy forever and ever. No military rule, nothing more, nothing less. We want a democracy.
God bless Ghana and make her great and strong. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist, also director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We're grateful. Right before we go, some belated birthday wishes. This one, Sunday was your birthday, Eric Elikem Gbemu. You work with DHL, Eric Elikem Gbemu. Belated happy birthday to you. There's also Eli Anyigbavo. Monday was your birthday. Belated wishes to you. I actually saw your post only today. A belated happy birthday to both of you, and God richly bless you. As we go, veer into sports. This segment brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free fertility screening for women. If you'd like to reach out to them, here are their branches. Here at Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Kronomabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanso and Esiama and Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. The end to chronic disease. But just the start of all the sporting action coming your way up next with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Do stay.